Hello children, welcome to iQuanta. Let's start with this set. I suggest you pause the video, read the question carefully, come back and then go through the solution. Also try to solve on your own at least for once, whatever you can. Okay, now that you have read the question, let's try to understand this. Whenever you read a question of DILR, make sure that you read twice. First reading has to be very fast to get the idea of the set. And while second reading, while you are reading for the second time, you start solving. Okay, you start the process of solving. Always follow that. It will help you to identify the type very fast. It will help you to decide. The decision making will become much faster over a period of time. But that will happen after 200 sets. So keep doing that. Okay, so here we have a country called New Land comprising only 11 cities. Important information. These are the names which are in the shape of a square. Area of all the cities are equal. Four edge of the square is boundary. Any city is said to be a neighbor. Okay. Neighbor is the city, if the two cities have one edge common. Further, so what it means is that two cities which are like this will be called neighbor, but two cities which are like this will not be called a neighbor. This is what it means, right? The only mode of traveling from one city to another city is by road. This is the only mode. Addition information is as follows. The total area of the 11 cities is equal to the area of entire country. B, F, G, I are the only cities which are to the north of J. B is the only neighbor of A, while C and F are the only other neighbors of B. F is the only city which is to the west. Okay, so now we are talking about directions. We can take the reference of north, south, east and west, right? F is the only city, so this is exact technical information which we can use or will take, obviously, which we will use, right, to create our table or our diagram. Now we have less space. Also take a look at the question. These are the questions. If you read the question, just check immediate north, we're talking about position, definite, exactly, definite and so on. Alright, so we need the proper positioning arrangement. Then only we'll be able to answer these questions. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken the same information here in a little less space so that we have more space to work, and while second reading we'll start solving. Okay, so let's start from here. All this is general information. This is the first important information. B, F, G and I are the only cities which are to the north of J. So for reference, I'll put north, south, east, west. And I draw possibilities. So J is here. J is here, and above J, because we're talking about north, there are four, only these four, only cities which are to the north of J. So if this is J, 1, 2, 3, 4. But we don't know where is B, where is F, where is G, where is I, right? But one thing is very clear, that there is nobody here. There is no city here. So I put a cross mark there. Why there is nobody there? Because which are to the north of J, these are the only four cities. Okay. B is the only neighbor of A, while C and F are the only neighbors of B. So what does that mean? B is the only neighbor of A and C and F are the only other neighbors of B. So that means B has three neighbors. B has three neighbors. Right? B is the only neighbor of A. So let's see. So can I put B here? No, because from here the three neighbors of B are A, C and F. A, C and F. These are the only three neighbors of B. J cannot be, so B cannot be there. Fantastic. B cannot be there. Can I put B here? This looks possible. So clearly F is one of these people. F is one of these people. But for A and C, we will have to include in one of these places. And none of A and C can come above J. Okay, so this is also not possible. In fact, this is also not possible for the same reason, right? Because if you're putting B there, you will have to put either A or C here, or A or C here. And the problem is above J, A and C cannot come. Above J, only B, F, G, I can come, right? So for that reason, B cannot be at the second and third place also. The only way it is possible is B has to be here. And then F See, F is a part of this list, BFGI. So F has to be here. This is the only way it is going to happen. Now clearly this place cannot be taken as we have already put the cut mark. Why? Because above J, these are the only 4 cities. Or in the north of J, these are the only 4 cities. So A and C clearly will come in these 2 places. But we still are not aware which side will be A, which side will be C. So immediately we'll draw another possibility. Never hesitate to draw possibilities. So 2, 3, 4, 5. So what all is definite? J is here, B is here. So we have created 2 cases for A and C, right? So if I take C here, A will be here. If I take C here, A will be here. Nice. Okay. So we have used this information, but we are not able to fix the place of G and I. One thing is very clear that in both the cases, GI will be here and here. If G is here, I is here. If I is here, G is here, and same way here also. So let me do one thing. I'll put G/I and I/G. That works. G/I. Till the time we have more clarity, we can do that. There is nobody here, right? Let's say this is case 1, this is case 2. Fantastic. What else do we have? Now, one very important thing about arrangement is, now that you have placed a few items, try to look for other information which is involving any one of these items. So if there is any information involving A or C or J or B or F will be helpful, right? So look for anything that we have which is related to A, B, F, nothing much. But here it says F is the only city which is to the west of H and C is the only city which is to the north of K. There is one more information which is still to be explored a little more. B is the only neighbor of A. Okay. B is the only neighbor of A. So around A there will be no other city. Around A there will be no other city. Right? Oh, so now this is completely utilized. Okay. F is the only city which is to the west of H. So H in case 1 can be here or here. So that this is like this. Similarly, oh, but H cannot be here. In this case, H cannot be here. So in this case, H can be here. But the problem is if I put H here, H will not be connected, because if I put H here, there is no place here, no place here. So no other city will come here and H will be totally disconnected. So that means this case 2 is totally invalid. Wow. See, the traveling has to be possible, right? One can travel between cities only if the cities are neighbors. And H cannot be connected with the network now for case 2. So case 2 is completely invalid. Nice. So now what we'll do, we'll simply remove this, right? Okay, so now we have only one case. Let's see whether it gives us the perfect situation or not. So F is the only city which is to the west of H and C is the only city which is to the north of K. C is the only city which is to the north of K, so K will be anywhere here. K can be here, here, here. But in that case, the problem is H cannot be here because C is the only city in the north of K. So wherever is K, H cannot be here, right? Okay, very good. So I'll remove this. Another information about K is that J is the only neighbor of K. J is the only neighbor of K. So what does that mean? That means K cannot be here, cannot be here. K has to be here. Only neighbor of J is the only neighbor of K. Wow. So J is the only neighbor of K. So around K, there should be no other place. Also, we get the place for H, and this is like this, because C is the only city to the north of K. Now, H is still disconnected, so there must be some city here or here, but here we cannot put a city because C is the only city to the north of K. Nice. So there has to be some city here because this will be pretty long. Still, we cannot put anything here. So the only way H can be connected to the main network is some city here. Is there any other information about H? North of K, J is the only neighbor of K, while D is the only neighbor to each of E and H. Wow. D is the only neighbor of H. H has to have a neighbor here, so this has to be D. Okay. And now D is the only neighbor to each of E and H. So E will be either here or here. So I'll put E1 and E2 just to show that E has two possibilities. Have we accommodated everything, right? I think so. So just go through that again, right? If there is a trouble, just repeat the video up to this point. Very beautiful set, very beautiful analysis of information, very peacefully you have to do it one by one. Just try and keep making sure what you are definitely aware of. Mark what you are sure of. Now what I'm trying to point out, these cross marks, this is a very important thing. This will help you tremendously across sets, across types. Crossing will give you a lot of help. So use it very carefully, okay? Very forcefully. So now we have two possibilities for E. We have fixed all the other things. We have not been able to identify the position of G and I, but we are aware कि इन्हीं में से होगा. Done, that's it. Let's look at the questions now. Which of the, see what happens when you put a lot of sincere effort and make it a habit that you check every minute point. Check every point. Do not ignore, do not assume. Okay? Do not assume anything. Always check. This has to become a habit. It cannot be an event. कि एक set में किया and you don't do it to any other set. It has to be a habit. Whatever is the situation, keep doing, keep checking it. What happens over a period of time, the speed of checking will increase. Remember that. Okay? Let's look at the questions. Which of the following cities is to the immediate north of I? Now I can be here, then north will be F. I can be here, north will be G. So either F or G. Either G, F. Oh, two options. But we have either one or two. So correct answer will be D. So you have to mark option D. Be careful. Which of the following cities is definitely the neighbor of G? Definitely the neighbor of G. If G is here, the neighbor will be F and I. If G is here, the neighbor will be I and J. Okay, so I is definitely the neighbor of G. I is definitely the neighbor. Do we have that? Oh yes, option D is the correct answer, right? Then we have, which of the following city have exactly two neighboring cities? Exactly two neighboring cities, B, J, D, okay? Exactly two. B has three. B has three, so clearly B cannot be the answer. And if B cannot be the answer, all of the above cannot be the answer. This is a very beautiful thing. Irrespective of the question, if one of the options is not possible, then all of the above cannot be possible. Now we have J and D. J and D. J definitely has two neighbors. D definitely has these two and one more. Oh, so D has three neighbors. Right. So J is the only correct answer for that question. So you will mark option B. Nice. Which of the following cities are definitely to the east of A? East of A, east of A. So A is here. In the east, we have B, C, D for sure. E may or may not be. Okay, so B, C, D for sure. B, C, D for sure. Nice. B, C, D, but we can't be sure about this. So correct answer would be option B. While doing LRDI, it is very important to be a little patient and persistent. A lot of times it will happen that you put a lot of effort and you're still not able to understand. Don't worry about it. It is a part of the process of learning LRDI. Right? So if there is any problem, you can always get back to us. I'll just try to, or I'll inform you about these classes, the courses that we do. One of the very important aspect of CAT coaching at iQuanta is application classes. Live conceptual classes, these are always there, definitely. And this is the general structure of the program that we do. Just take a look at it, take benefit of it. If you want to know more about all these things, all these courses, visit iQuanta website, call on the number, get in touch with us. We'll try to help you. Thank you.